In today's video, I play 100 days of this incredibly peaceful fishing simulator.
Stop! No, please! I just repaired my ship!
Completing quests and uncovering mysteries along the way.
I'm so scared.
All while trying not to panic at night.
No, stop this. We're gonna stop. And where did that come from?
This is how I survived 100 days in Dredge.
Let's just go off the old this. Angler wanted. That's an angler if I've ever seen one. Okay, maybe he's not much of an angler if he can't sail his own boat.
After crashing in front of that lighthouse, I woke up on a dock of a small town that I would later learn is called Greater Morrow, where the mayor approached me. He told me that my boat was too badly damaged to be repaired and that he would let me borrow one of their old boats for the time being. He also told me to get back before the fog rolls in.
What's in the fog?
Well, I would soon find out. I quickly left the dock and came across my first fishing spot where I caught my first fish, a blue mackerel.
Wow, I'm bad. Wow!
That quickly changed when I came across some cod.
I'm so good at this thing.
The game told me that if I stopped moving, so does the time, which I thought was a really cool concept. But this is also when I realized this.
It counts the days for me.
Won't be needing this anymore. After that, I returned to the dock to sell this morning's catch. When I got there, the mayor was waiting for me. He told me that I could keep the boat that he gave me as long as I paid off my debt of $50. In order to do that, I needed to sell fish, so I went to meet the fishmonger.
Oh yeah, he's a fishmonger. This game nailed character design.
I sold my fish and then went to meet the shipwright where I bought another fishing rod. Then I went out during the night where I learned that there are nighttime fish as well. I caught some squid and then some black grouper. After that, the game taught me about my panic meter, which was his eye on the top of my screen. This, well, scared me, so I went to sell my fish and sleep. Fishmonger gave me a quest to catch a flounder and an eel, which I immediately set out to do in the morning. While looking for an eel, I went to this other town where I met the trader. I then decided to do some more exploring. I was a bit scared, but my reasoning made me feel a bit better.
It's kind of scary out here. So, you know what? My boat doesn't have a health bar. So, if there's no health bar, I can't take damage. Those are orcas. Good chill. Whoa.
It got dark pretty quick, and I made a beeline for shallow water.
There's nothing out here that wants to find me.
On my way, I found some eel and then made my way to the dock. When I got there, the lighthouse keeper was there, and I could already tell she wasn't too fond of me. I then sold my fish and slept. Bright and early in the morning, I set out to check out this house on an island nearby. There was no one inside, and the workshop was locked, so I left. The rest of the day was spent fishing, trying to get myself out of debt. I got back to the dock and sold my stuff. Then I spoke with the mayor. He gave me a package for me to bring to Little Morrow. He didn't want it to spoil, so I had to go quick. I left first thing in the morning to bring it over, and when I got there, I met the dock worker. He took the package and suspiciously looked at it. He gave me a book as payment, and I left. The rest of the day was spent sailing around so I could finish reading the book. On my travels, I came across this.
Oh, that's a skull.
I was now even more scared of what might be lurking in the depths because that was much bigger than my ship. I then saw these red particles and went to investigate.
Should have had a smaller boat. Backing it up. Oh, they didn't like that noise.
I immediately left and the panic started to set in very quickly. I safely made it back to the dock and sold the fish I caught that day. I then bought a new fishing rod from the shipwright, and since it was already morning, I didn't sleep. I then went out to explore some more. I eventually came across this.
Who needs saving? I'm here.
I was suspicious of this man, but willing to help.
Next message I get is the castaway is holding a knife to your throat.
I brought him back, which brought me into the night, and he gave me a ring. On my way back to the dock, I had my first experience with the magically appearing rocks that happen when you're panicking.
Where did that come from?
When I got back, I gave the fishmonger a nasty-looking fish. He sniffed it and was creepily happy to see it. He pulled a handkerchief out of the fish and gave it to me. He then said he would pay me well if I brought him any more fish like this. After leaving the fishmonger's, I saw this man looking through my boat's window.
He's staring at me through my window.
He knew something about the handkerchief that I didn't, and he wanted to inspect it. But instead of doing it here, where we both were, he wanted me to meet him somewhere else to do it. In the morning, I was informed that the dry dock was now operational, which could be used to upgrade my ship. I then set out to meet the totally not suspicious man at his house, which was the mansion that I visited earlier. He told me that he was a collector. The handkerchief was apparently from a ship that he had been searching for, and as a reward for getting this, he gave me the ability to dredge items from the water. He gave me a mission to dredge some relics for him. I then went out and started dredging. On my journey, I saw this.
There's a boat. Hey! Boat. Why'd he turn direct? Okay, you sound kind of creepy. Who are you? Hold on. What is it? That's an anglerfish, dude! Stop. They can't do that. They can't do that. That's... okay. Ah, yes. Rocks. Because they could just show up out of nowhere.
In my attempt to get away, I crashed into a rock and my ship was now badly damaged. I got back to the dock and the mayor basically told me to sleep it off. Then I spoke to the lighthouse keeper, who didn't really help me. Shocker, I know. Then I spoke to the builder, who asked me to get some materials for it. Then I talked to the fishmonger, and he told me that he now sells crab traps and that I should use them to finish a quest for him. Then I talked to the shipwright and had to sell one of my engines to repair my ship. Then I went to bed to rest after nearly pooping my pants and having the most eventful night so far. First thing I did in the morning was throw out the crab trap. I then went around dredging things and I remembered that I'd seen this big red beam in the sky and decided to go there. I went there and dredged up one of the lost relics for the collector. This somehow took me all the way into the night and a familiar face came by to say hello.
Stop! No, please! I just repaired my ship! Stop chasing me. Oh my god, leave me alone. I can barely move. I'm here, it's bright.
He destroyed my engine, so I was lucky that he only took one bite. I very slowly made my way back, and as the sun rose, I made it to the dock. The mayor was waiting, and although I couldn't make out what he was saying, I heard rest and nightmares, so I sold my eels and then sold one of my rods to repair my ship, and then I slept for the entire day because I was scared of these nightmares. In the morning, I brought the builder to where she wanted to build her new house. I then dredged up some materials and dropped off some wood to her. Then I slept, and the next morning I went back to Greater Morrow to throw out some more crab traps. That already brought me to night, and I slept. In the morning, I checked my crab traps and did some more fishing. Then I went out to the collector to give him the key that I found. He then cast a spell on me and gave me the haste power, which gives my ship a boost when I'm running away from things. Then I set out to Ingfell, where I figured the next relic would be. I got there late at night, so I slept, and when I woke up, I spoke to the people here. First was a resident who wanted a rotting eel. Weird, but I said I would do it. I then went into this rock formation where I met the Cyclops fish. He was a bit creepy, but slow, so I was able to get away. This is when I met the traveling merchant. She had basically everything that was at Greater Morrow, but in better locations, so I wouldn't have to go all the way back every time I needed something. At night, I stopped at this dock where I met this old man. He lived here alone and was brothers with the retired whaler in Ingfell. They had a fight and separated. I decided that I would do everything I could to make these two be friends again. I then slept, and when I woke up, I sailed around but ended up doing nothing all day because I was too scared to go near the Cyclops fish. The next day, I did some fishing and came across this wall where I would need explosives to get through. That brought me to the night, and I went back and sold my fish and slept. That morning, I decided to go back to Greater Morrow where I would get the last crab for the fishmonger's quest. When I got back to the dock, I was met by the lighthouse keeper who mistook my ship for someone else's. Something was weird about this lady, but I didn't know what. I finished the fishmonger's quest, and he told me that he wanted me to catch more fish with deformities and that I should only keep this between the two of us. I then bought another engine for my ship, and after sleeping, I went back to the builder to help her finish her house. After that, I saw another ship. I was really scared of it because of what happened earlier.
Stop!
But it turned out to be a person who was too scared to go out and deliver a package because of a leviathan that was in these waters. They gave me the package, which had a dark fluid oozing from it, and I agreed to bring it to the dock worker. When I got there, I met a grieving father who had lost his son in a shipwreck. He asked me to retrieve his son's belt buckle from his crashed ship. I agreed and then gave the package to the dock worker. He creepily inspected it and took it without giving me anything for my troubles. I then went to Greater Morrow and put the builder in my ship to bring her back to build her house. In the morning, I did just that. She gave me 2 research parts and I was on my way. I got the man's belt buckle and did some more fishing before heading back to the man. I gave him the belt buckle and slept. The next morning, I brought another mutated fish to the fishmonger. He gave me research parts and then started talking about the voices.
The voices, the fucking voices.
These voices were not real, and I was concerned for his health. I left and bought a light from the shipwright, and after that I went back to Ingfell. I got there and did some fishing and then went to bed. In the morning, I sold my fish and tried going back to get the next relic, but I was scared and went back to the old man's house. I slept and then went back in where I immediately got chased. After a couple more failed attempts, I slept. Then I went and finally got the family crest. I brought it back to the man and he wanted me to bring it to his brother. I did, and he said that he would take him in, he just needed to clear some space. This is when he asked me if I could go and break some rocks with explosives that he planted. I eventually found them and stood dangerously close when they blew up. I went back and the whaler told me to go and get his brother. I went there, picked him up, and in the morning I brought him back. After bringing him back, the man said I could now buy explosives from him. I bought some and immediately went and got the next relic. I then spent the next couple of days sailing around. I don't really know what I was doing, but eventually I went back to the collector and gave him his relic. He once again cast a spell on me and gave me the ability to teleport back to this island whenever I wanted. Spent the rest of the day and the next catching and selling fish. After that, I went out to get the next relic. When I got here, I saw palm trees, but there were a lot of weird noises coming from this hole in the ground. I found the traveling merchant here and slept. In the morning, I went and investigated the hole. The relic was in the middle of it, and I attempted to get it. I couldn't because my line wasn't long enough, and this kraken-like thing sunk my ship. I then stayed as far away as I could from here. I eventually came across a researcher. She tasked me with catching a few fish for her, and I spent the day catching all types of new fish, and then at night, I caught an octopus. At night, I sold it all and bought another rod. The next day, I did a lot more fishing. At night, I caught some squid, and the next day, I did even more fishing. Eventually, I got bored and decided to teleport back to Greater Morrow to catch fish there. After a few days, I ended up being able to afford a trawling net. I made it and went back to try to catch the last fish that I needed, which was a jellyfish. I was eventually able to get one and brought it back to the researcher. She then wanted me to get some parts for her from her old research base to make a device to stop the Kraken from attacking me. I then spent time messing with my recording settings, so I'll spare your eyes and not make you look at the terrible quality things that came from this. Basically, all I did was catch some fish and sell them. I ended up going to the old research base and got all the parts. The next morning, I brought them to the researcher and she gave me the device and a line that could reach the abyssal zone. I would end up needing this to get the relic in the middle. I then caught some abyssal fish, and the next morning, I brought the devices to the lab and activated it. Turns out, I was lied to and could not get the relic. So I went back to Greater Morrow and made a line that made it so I could catch oceanic fish. I went around and caught some sharks. Eventually, I had the money to buy the bottomless line, and with this, I went back and was able to get the relic. I then teleported back and gave it to the collector. It gave me the ability to keep every aggressive thing away from me for a bit, which came in pretty handy later on. I then went to see how the builder was doing. She had a full house now and said that I could use her island for stuff. I then went straight to the next place where I would go to get a relic. I went into this area, but it was scary, so I left. Okay, so one problem. The recording for the next 30 days got corrupted. So here's how I'll explain everything that happened. So basically, I went into this area and found a crashed plane. There was a survivor who wanted me to get rid of these scary monsters that tried to control my mind when I got there. He had me go around and get the parts for this, and it turned out to be a mortar. He then had me lure these monsters into these traps that he made, and he shot the mortar to kill them. After doing this 3 times, they were all dead and I got the relic. I gave it to the collector and then went to the next area. On my way there, I saw a giant squid arm come out and try to attack me, but a sperm whale jumped out and stopped it. Honestly, it was crazy and really cool. You just had to be there. This area had lava underwater and little fish that would follow me around and make a noise to attract a bigger fish to come and attack me. I wasn't able to catch any fish here, so I had to make a new rod. This is when I realized that I haven't upgraded my ship yet, so I then spent the next days fishing, selling, and upgrading things. Fully upgraded my ship 2 times and made a new rod. I also made a bunch of jet engines. Then I was ready to go back to the new area. When I got there, I met a weird man who wanted me to light these 3 flames for him. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. I then caught some new fish and went around looking for these 3 flames. The first one required fish that I already had, so I got it pretty easily. I then dredged up a stone tablet. I had no idea what it did, but it said that the collector might know something. I lit the first flame and then went to the collector. He said that he had another one of these fragments and that I should find the other 2. I went back and threw down some crab traps so I could get the next flame. I eventually got the crabs I needed and got the flame. I lit the statue and went to get another tablet. I then ended up running into a lighthouse where I could put something, but I didn't have it yet, so I left. I got the last stone tablet and went back to the collector where he gave me a stone sheet that I could put in the lighthouse thing. I put it in and got a new light for my ship. The final flame had no requirements there for me, so I didn't know what to put in. Eventually, after just putting a bunch of fish in there, I put 2 mutated fish in and it opened. With this, I lit the final flame and the fanatic lit the big flame and it ended up engulfing him.
What?
This left only the pocket watch, and I left and went to the collector where I got this prompt.
Entering the final phase of the game.
To finish the game, I waited till night and had to bring the collector to a spot in the middle of the ocean where this happened.
Who are we bringing back? Yes. What is happening?
It's a body. What is that? What did I do?